Hello everyone, welcome to Winged Horse Designs. I'm Donna Goodwin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Brookings, South Dakota. For this pre-recorded video, I'm bringing you a fun interlocking gatefold card. So you have this interlocking mechanism here in the center. And I think you're going to find it a lot of fun to do, and it's actually very easy. So I'm going to switch cameras and we'll get started. Okay, here's a lot better view of it. So you have this interlocking mechanism here, and it's very easy to do. And it opens up. And I chose to use inked and tiled stamp set. And then on the inside birthday greeting actually comes from Season of Sheep. But I thought, it would be a lot of fun. This stamp set has flowers in it, but it also has this one large leaf image on it. And I thought it would be fun to do something that could be used as a masculine card or could be used for just anyone. And leaves do not always have to be stamped in the nice, beautiful fall colors. What about the beautiful green, spring, and summer colors? So that's and a little bit of gold just to help that green pop. So I'm going to set this up in this corner. And I have another one to show you that's got 3 different pieces in here to create your interlocking mechanism. You won't need to write the measurements down. They are in the description for this card. And then the measurements for the other one will be on my blog. So we're going to start with a piece of cardstock that measures 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. This is making a portrait card, and this one is scored at 2 1/4 inches and 6 3/4 inches, or 2 1/4 inches from either side. I'm just going to give that a good crease with the bone folder. And really all you need to create that interlocking mechanism is nesting dies or punches that fit nicely inside of each other. For the inside, I'm going to use a piece of basic white. Oh, this was Starry Sky cardstock. I'm going to use a piece of basic white that's 4 by 5 1/4, so a standard inside piece. And for the front of the card, for this piece here that we're going to create our own pretty paper, this measures 3 1/4 inches by 5 inches. So we're going to stamp it and then cut it in half. For our birthday, we just need a piece of scrap. This is much larger than what I need, but a piece of scrap that we'll die cut. For our hint of gold behind it, of course I could use any color map, but I thought gold would look nice. This is 1 7/8 of an inch by 5 1/4 inch. You need 2 of those. And then you need a piece of, back to the Starry Sky, you need a piece that measures about 2 1/2 inches by 2 1/2 inches. I've already die cut these. You're going to nestle these 2 dies together, and I'll show that to you in a moment. And you have this piece you can use for something else, but here's our frame that we're going to use. And when we stamp this, it'll fit right inside that. So like I said, you could use any kind of nesting dies. I chose to use the 2, not the real small one, but the second smallest and the next one above that. I chose to use these 2 and nestled them together, but you could do circles, you could do banners. It just depends on what your sentiment's going to be. So I start by just laying them down as though they were getting ready to go on the cutting surface, and I get them lined up and then hold them together with some washi tape. Then when I put them through to cut them on the blue, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get my frame. For my birthday, I'm only going to need this inside piece because I'm not after the frame. And if you're doing more, then you would just keep nestling them together and taping them together for the cutting. That way they don't shift when you're cutting. I'm using 3 ink colors for our card today. Parakeet Party, Granny Apple Green. They're nice bright greens, which is the color trend this summer, is the bright greens. And then I'm coming in with Starry Sky for my sentiments. So let's go ahead and bring in these 2 pieces. I'm going to bring in some scrap paper. to protect my desk. And we'll get started on those. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We'll just go ahead and start on this one first. Whoops, there we go. So I'm going to take the Parakeet Party and my leaf stamp. Oh, that one's done. You know what? We're going to work on this front piece first. I just realized I did the other one in a different color. We're just going to kind of stamp randomly. So I'm going to stamp full strength. And then I am going to ink it up again because I have a line here, and you're not going to be able to see on camera, but I have this line here where the edge was. And if I just stamp again and I get that tiny little sliver of the leaf in, I'm going to end up with a funny looking color. So I'm just going to stamp off and stamp again just to get something light. I'm going to do this a couple times, 2 or 3 times. It doesn't matter which direction I go. Let's try not to go. And then I think we'll do a couple more. Because you know, when you're looking at the tree, it's all together, right? They're all bunched in together. Let's come this way. Up there. And I'm okay with that little bit of white because I'm going to switch colors. So then we'll come in, we'll clean this and come in with the Granny Apple Green. So I'm just going to clean this with some stamp cleaner and my Stampin' Scrub. You could use a chamois or some type of wet cloth to do this with. I'm going to repeat this process with the Granny Apple Green. And this is a darker green, a much darker green, but it's still pretty bright. And then we'll come in a whole bunch of different directions, I hope. We're just going to stamp directly on top of those. And that probably came in looking a little more on purpose than I had intended. I think we need just a little bit more right here. But I think I'm going to stamp off and make it a little bit lighter. And so there's our front that we'll cut in half. Let's go ahead and work on our inside. And in the inside, I actually used, I guess I did use Parakeet Party. I stamped off with both. You know, it's been at least a day since I did this, so I'm forgetting what I did already. That never happens to you, right? So there's my Granny Apple Green. So I guess we'll clean again and go back to the green. That's okay. We'll go back to the Parakeet and do that one too. This is how I stamp in real life. Have to clean and go back and forth between ink colors. Not that this isn't real life, but when no one's watching me and listening to me, this is how I stamp. Constantly going back and forth between ink colors. So I'm going to bring in the Starry Sky and work with our sentiment. And I have Happy Birthday mounted, so I'm going to take the scrap piece and stamp that one first. And then I'm going to clean it. I could have just had a second block out and whoops, that landed on the floor. Now this one's photopolymer, so I need a mat. And you can put your sentiment anywhere you want, but lately I've been on this kick of sticking it kind of down, halfway down the side and over on the side of the card, instead of putting it in the center or in the center at the top. So the next thing we need to do is we need to cut this. Now I've already done this one, so I only need the small one. And again, I'm going to line this up where I want it to be, and I'm going to hold it in place with some washi tape so that it doesn't slip on me while I'm die cutting it. And we'll run that through the die cutting machine, and we get this. And so all we need to do is cut this in half and then start putting our card together. So this is going to be cut at 1 5/8 of an inch to cut it in half. And we now have our 2 halves and all our other halves, so we can start putting this together. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the inside in first. And then we'll start putting our panels together. If you're liking what you see, please do like, comment, and share with your friends. I love reading the comments. If you're watching me on Facebook, you can also find me on YouTube and Instagram, and I do have a website, all of which are underneath the name, it's over here, underneath the name Winged Horse Designs. And I will put these on the front. I really like this distressed gold because it's just got a little bit of shiny, non-shiny. It's just got, it has a textured look to it. Even though it's flat and smooth, it has a textured look to it. And I like those textured looks. Oh well. If I had wanted them to be the same pattern, this one should have been over here, and they should have been the opposite sides, but that's okay. When we get all done with everything, it's really not going to matter much. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these two together and nestle them together, and I'm going to hold them together with a bit of washi tape. And I'm going to flip it vertically and line my 2 points up together, just like it is here. And I know that I only want to glue this side of the blue and this side of the white. So I'm just going to put a bead of glue on the blue on this side and just put a bead of glue on the other side of the white. And then when I flip these over, and I can go center or slightly above. I'm choosing to go slightly above. I'm going to hold those for a little bit and give them a chance to dry. That's why you hold them for a bit and give them a chance to dry. I'm going to hold those for a bit longer. There we go. As you can see that they just hook together and you have that interlocking mechanism. Doesn't necessarily hold it flat, but it holds it. A little bit of gems on this. Also, if you're liking this and you'd like to have some of these products and you don't already have a demonstrator and you're in the United States, I'd love to be your demonstrator. So these are from the Brushed Metallic Dots, and you have gold, copper, and pewter. And since I used gold here, I'm going to use gold there. And so you have this fun interlocking gatefold card. Well, what if you want to dress it up even a bit more and you don't, or maybe you don't want to stamp your own background? Bring in some designer series paper. This is from the Fresh as a Daisy. This time I went with a horizontal card. And you notice there are 3 different pieces here. So this time you have 3 different pieces hooking here. Let's see, I get a little bit closer. You have 3 different pieces here. So you can get as many or as few as you like to try and pull it apart and open it up. And I just used the Fresh as a Daisy. So what I used here is I used the Something Fancy dies because there are 3 nesting dies in that one. I cut my designer series paper obviously in half. These gems are they're just called solid gems. This is matted in Cajun Craze, and the card base is soft sea foam. Just to pull, just so it wasn't all blue a little bit. And then of course this mat and the ink color is boho blue. So if you're interested in these measurements, they are on my blog. But I'll go ahead and mention them here. And if you want to do the pause and jot notes, you can do that as well. So this card base is 4 1/4 inches by 11. And it is scored at 2 3/4 and 8 1/4, or 2 3/4 from both sides. The Cajun Craze is 2 1/2 inches by 4 inches. You need 2 of those. Plus you need enough of whatever die you're going to use. And the boho blue is whatever size you need again for your die. In this case, it's 2 inches by 3 inches. My designer series paper started out as 3 7/8 by 4 3/4, but then I cut it in half, so it's 3 7/8 by 3. Oh, let me double check my measurements. By 3 7/8. So basically I just real thin bordered all the way in on this one. So when you're doing these, you can use any shape. It could be a set of punches, it could be dies. These just happen to be what I had available. I've seen a lot of people do it with interlocking hearts. Interlocking hearts are a lot of fun for weddings, anniversaries, or around Valentine's Day. You just need some pieces that will hook together nicely without getting caught on each other. So I hope you have enjoyed. Oops, here we go. I hope you've enjoyed this recorded video that I did for you. And if you have, please do come back and check in on me. I do pre-recorded videos every Friday, and I do live streaming every Monday. It is the summertime, so it's summer hours. My live streams are Mondays at 2 p.m. Central Time. So I'll be back Monday with something for you live. Actually, a really fun fold, I think, that you'll really like. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Happy trails.